Hi there, and welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie, episode 342. I'm Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. Today is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. I hope you guys are having a good week. Thank you all so much for the well wishes. We had to cancel last week's live stream because Brian and I both got COVID. So we got COVID early last week. I think we both got sick Monday night. And we appreciate you accommodating us canceling. I always hate to cancel the live stream, but we're back. We're feeling so much better this week. We both are dealing with some COVID fatigue, but other than that, we're much improved. So if you're watching us live, say hello and where you're watching from. And if you're watching us on replay, let us know as well. If this is your first time joining us live, let us know in the chat. My amazing audience will give you a big warm welcome. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you? If you've got questions, put a Q in front of that question. That makes it into my queue. I'll save all of your questions until the end of tonight's live stream. That way I can focus on tonight's project, and then I'll stay on till the end till I answer all of your questions. When you shop with me, you earn Pixie Perks on orders of $25 or more. All you need to do is use my magic shopping link, thepaperpixie.com/shop, and that will auto-magically take you to the Stampin' Up! Online store, shopping with me with my current host code applied. If your order is going to be $150 or more, take that host code off because you're going to earn Stampin' Rewards from Stampin' Up! On orders of $150 or more. You'll also earn Pixie Perks from me as well. We are in the midst of the Designer Series paper sale, so select Designer Series papers from the annual catalog are 15% off through August 31st, so coming down to the wire there. I also updated, or I should say loaded a bunch of retired items into my retired items shop. So that link is down in the description, as well as a link to the Designer Series paper sale. Both of those links are in the description, but I loaded a little over 140 products from my retired items stash to my retired items shop. You can find that link in the description. Also, product shares are open for sign up. That link is also in the description. I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera here. I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek. This is what we're making tonight. But really quickly, let me plug my product shares. We've got a new catalog coming, the September to December 2024 mini catalog. This will be launching on September 4th. Which means I will be offering product shares. So those of you that were on my product share mailing list, you got an email. Oh, you need your, hold on one second. Okay, you gotta remember that next time, okay? Sorry. I emailed those of you on my email list last Monday when I opened up sign up. Now, I was going to tell you about this last week, but you know, COVID. So these are open through September 2nd for sign up. I've got 3 different options. I've got a paper share, which is 108 sheets of 6x6 paper. It's 10 different papers in the mini catalog. The only paper that I'm not including is the one that has the die cut pieces. That's just too difficult for Brian and I to divvy up. But it is the other 10 papers that are in there. That's $43 plus $9 shipping. There's also a ribbon and embellishment share. I typically have been including embellishments for mini catalogs. So that will come with, it's 5 different ribbons, approximately 12.5 yards of ribbon, 200 embellishment pieces, and that's from 6 different adhesive backed embellishments. Does not include like loose embellishments and the gold leaves, but a few of those you can pick as a free gift if you pick the I Want It All share. So the ribbon and embellishment share is $31 plus $4 shipping. If you want to get both, or what I call the I Want It All share, I think I got that term from my upline, Brian King. It's $74 plus $9 shipping, but you get all of the above. So the paper, the ribbon, the embellishments, plus you get to choose a free gift, or you can choose the surprise me option as well, and I'll surprise you. So sign up deadline September 2nd, payment due by September 3rd, because I will be ordering first thing in the morning, September 4th, okay? So that's the scoop there. That is linked in the description as well. All right, let me show you tonight's project. This I am calling a Dopp kit gift box. I do want to give a shout out to the inspiration for this, Indra Biendl, Biendl. She's a German demonstrator and she did a much larger version of this. And I fell in love with it when it came across my feed. I think it was last week. I'm like, oh, I gotta figure out how to make that. It was just such a cool looking box. If you guys remember the Perfect Parcel dies from a few years ago, this size is reminiscent of that and opens in a very similar way. So I've got magnetic closure on the sides and it just opens up to be a pretty decent sized gift box. And I love this noise when it closes. Hopefully you can hear that on the microphone. So I'm calling this a Dopp kit gift box because it really does remind me of a Dopp kit. I think Indra in German called hers a toiletry gift bag. So that as well, that's what a Dopp kit is. So, but Dopp kit reminds me of my dad. So that is what we're gonna make tonight. That is using the Countryside, what is it called? Hold on. I might as well show you the products we're using. The Countryside in Designer Series paper, which is part of the Designer Series paper sale, 15% off. I love this paper. I cannot get enough of it. Simply Zinnia, this is from the online exclusives, but I absolutely love the thank you so much sentiment. And then Everyday Details, I did both the circle and the smallest of the rectangles for the front there. I didn't want to decorate it too much. I did a little trio of rhinestones there because the box itself is such a cool box. So that's what we're gonna make tonight. It is a little bit more involved. Also, my brain is super tired. So I decided to just do one project for you tonight. But those of you who've been asking for bigger boxes, hopefully this checks that box. All right, so let me get situated and we'll get started. I do not have the project sheet finished yet. I do have pictures taken and everything, but if you'll give me till tomorrow morning, by the time the stream is over, I'm gonna be ready for bed. So I will finish the project sheet tomorrow, come back to the YouTube video and you can check the description for that. We're gonna start with boho blue and 2 pieces that measure 6.5 by 7, okay? So 6.5 by 7, we're gonna give the same treatment to both of these. So in order to get this size box with this type of closure, we actually need to piece together 2 pieces. So as we kind of cut and score, those are gonna layer together to create this box. So let's start with 1 piece. Again, 6.5 by 7, you're gonna cut 2 pieces. The template and then sort of the written measurements that will be on the project sheet, those are gonna help you with the score lines. I'll explain them as I go and then I'll show you the template as well, but I recommend just kind of taking your time with the score lines and referencing the template so that you know there's gonna be a couple of sections we're gonna skip with score lines. So with this in landscape, so I've got this along the 7-inch side along the top, I'm gonna go ahead and score at 4 inches and 6.5 inches. And then I'm gonna turn it 1/4 of a turn clockwise, okay? Then I'm gonna go ahead and score at 2.5. For this next score line at 6, I'm actually gonna flip my cardstock to the back side because we're gonna fold backwards on this score line. So I'm just gonna flip it and score on the opposite side. So 2.5 and 6, but the 6 score line is on the back side. Then I'm gonna rotate it 180. So we're going to the opposite 6.5 inch side. And you'll know that based on, you've got this little 1/2 inch section along the top. And then we're gonna score at 1 inch, but I'm gonna stop at the second horizontal score line. So 1 inch and stop. This next score line is at 2 1/4, but I actually want to skip this 1/2 inch section and I'll bring the template in and point these out again. But I'm going to go to 2 1/4 and just kind of gently drag my stylus down to that first score line. We only want to score between the first and second horizontal score lines. Okay, so we're skipping just that section right there. Okay, so this one that was 1 inch that went down to the second horizontal from the edge to the second. This one went from first to second score line at 2 1/4. And then the last one we're going to do, and this is just to help us remove some bulk on the bottom tab, I'm going to do 6, but then stop at that second horizontal score line. Like that. Okay. Then one more quarter turn clockwise, and I'm going to score at 5 1/4, but only down to the second score line. Let's see if I can see that with the lights. So 5 1/4, just down to that second score line. Okay. Now we're going to repeat this. Let me bring in the template really quickly, and then we'll do this one more time. The nice thing about this box is we're going to do things twice, so it'll be a little bit easier to pick up. All right, so here is that template. I'm just going to kind of recap the score lines, and then we'll do the second piece. So this was at 4 inches and 6 1/2 inches. Then we turned it a quarter of a turn, and we did 2 1/2. Then we flipped to the back side and did 6. Okay. Then we did kind of that 180 just to the opposite side, and we scored at 1 inch down to the second horizontal score line. Then 2 1/4, but again, just between those score lines. And then 6 down to the second score line. Of course, I didn't leave that little score line there, but hopefully you get that, the point there, okay? And then the last thing we did was turn it a quarter turn, and we did that 5 1/4 score line down to the second horizontal score line, okay? All right, so let's bring in the second piece. Along the 7-inch side, again, we're gonna do 4 inches, 6 1/2. I'm gonna turn it a quarter of a turn and do 2 1/2. Then at 6, but we're gonna flip to the back side for that 6-inch score line. And I bring it back to that same side. Now we're gonna rotate it 180, and we're gonna do 1 inch down to the second score line. 2 1/4, but I'm gonna skip that first section, so I'm only scoring from first score line to second score line. Then 6, stopping at the second score line, okay? And then quarter turn clockwise, 5 1/4 down to that second score line. So it looks like that, okay? All right. Where am I putting this? Here we go. All right, bring in the template because we do have to do a couple of diagonal score lines here. If you've got a set square, this one will help. This is a, 90-degree angle here. But I'm just gonna grab my ruler and my stylus. You can either use the stylus from your Simply Scored or the stylus tip, which is not that one, this one for the Take Your Pick tool, okay? They both do the trick. All right, so I'm gonna show you on the template here, when we did that last short score line at that 5 1/4 and stopped at the second horizontal, we're gonna connect the base of that score line diagonally to this intersection of score lines here. And we're gonna go in both directions. So what I like to do is start by taking the ball tip of my stylus and placing it at the starting point, then bring my ruler to it. I also like to check that I've got space for that ball tip at both the top and bottom of the score line, and then I'll score, okay? And I'm gonna do that in both directions on both pieces, okay? So we're coming from the bottom of this score line. We're gonna score diagonally to that intersection, okay? All right. Here we go. I'm gonna start my ball tip here. Pardon my, I'm having to turn my head in a certain way so I can see with the camera lights, or the video lights, I should say. Here we go. And again, if you got a set square with that 90-degree angle, you can use that as well. So there we go. We made our little diagonal lines there. And then You do want to take your time with this because the more accurate you are with your score lines, the better this box will turn out. There we go. So we've got our little triangles there, okay? All right. Now we can start to do our burnishing and cutting and all that good stuff. So what I'm gonna do is fold and burnish on the score lines that go all the way across, and you're gonna wanna do that based on which side of the paper we scored on. So these two vertical score lines, we're gonna turn into mountain folds. This bottom one will be a mountain fold, but this top one is gonna be a valley fold, because remember we scored that on the back side. So grab my, let's see. All right. So burnish. There's 3 that are going the same direction. And then we've got the one at the top we're gonna fold backwards. There we go. I'm gonna need that to stay on. My notes, okay. So I did that one. I'm gonna also do this one as well. So there's technically 4 score lines that go all the way across that we're folding and burnishing. So these 2 vertical are mountain. This bottom horizontal is mountain. And then this top one is gonna turn into a valley fold. So from the side, like that, okay? There we go. All right. Bring that template back. All right, so let's focus on the top here. And then I'm gonna come in to, I'm actually gonna turn it this way. So 2 score lines in from the right, I'm gonna cut up this vertical score line and stop just before this big section. Technically it's 1, 2, 3 score lines up. Oops. There we go, okay. And then we're gonna remove that section completely. Let's see, so we've removed that, okay? Then I'm gonna go ahead and remove this lower right corner, that long rectangle. So I'm just gonna cut up the vertical score line here. And I'm also going to miter cut on this side tab as I remove that. So we've got that removed, okay? And I just did a little bit of an angle cut there, which I will repeat on the top part as well. This is going to end up being our tab that connects our pieces and puts our box together. Then I'm going to cut up this vertical score line, stopping at that first horizontal score line, okay? And then we're keeping this whole big section, so I'm going to fold that out of the way so don't cut into it. But we're going to go ahead and remove that 1/2 inch off the bottom. Now, that score line that we did was just so that I could cut off that 1/2 inch. That's so that our tabs don't overlap. That was an optional score line there, but it just makes it easier when you've got everything there and you know where to cut. So we've just miter cut that tab, okay? And this is gonna be a little bit shorter than this section, and that's because when this folds in, both of those tabs are gonna fold in. We don't want those to overlap, okay? Get this part cleaned up. So that's all the cutting for that piece. I'm gonna put this off to the side and we'll bring this back in a moment. So we get a second chance here, okay? So again, I'm gonna focus on this section up at the top. Coming in 2 score lines from the right, you're basically cutting right along the top of that triangle, right at that point. There we go, and we're going to remove all of those. I say all of those, but what I mean is all of those sections. Okay, it's like 6 sections we're removing. Then along the bottom here, I'm going to cut up that first vertical score line, stopping at technically the second horizontal because we've got this score line down here in the bottom. Then I'm going to miter cut as I remove it, and miter cut on the opposite side of that tab. So both of these pieces are exactly the same. Next, I'm going to cut up that vertical score line and stop at that horizontal line. There we go. Then fold this big section out of the way, and we're going to remove this little 1/2 inch section. And then miter cut. This is, believe it or not, one of our bottom tabs. But we're only looking at half of the box here with this one piece. Okay, so there's just the one template that'll be on the project sheet, and you're just going to duplicate that. So it's going to be 2 pieces, 6.5 by 7. Okay, so along the top here, and I actually forgot to get a fresh roll of tear and tape because I used up my last roll. 1 second. All right, so tear and tape, we are actually, well, I don't think we need this template for reference anymore, okay? But that will be on the project sheet. I'm gonna run a strip of tear and tape right along this top edge here, and on the side where that's a valley fold. Let's get this. I love a fresh roll of tear and tape. All right. Okay, and we're going to do that to both pieces. I missed you guys last week. I always hate to cancel a show, but Brian and I were in no shape to do a show last week. So I'm excited to be back with you this week. All right, so we've done that, and I just put that right up to the top edge, okay? And I'm gonna just take my take your pick tool. Gotta swap out the tips here. And I'm just gonna pull off that tear and tape backing from both. And just gonna fold that back on itself. This is gonna give us a really nice looking edge here. And then I'm just gonna burnish that down. All right, so we got our 2 identical pieces here. The next thing we're gonna do is adhere some designer series paper. So let me go grab those 2 pieces. All right, so I've got 2 pieces of the Countryside, I always forget the name of it, Countryside Inn, and these pieces measure 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and those panels are going to adhere just below that folded edge there. Okay, so I'm going to use liquid glue for that. I have 4 glue bottles in my surroundings.
Don't you always?
I guess I do always, don't I? Of course, that one, I haven't used that one in a bit. So Brian and I celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary on Sunday, and I think this will be an anniversary to remember since we both had COVID together. It was Brian's first time getting it, and it was my second time. But it's been about 2 years for me, so I do not recommend it. 0 out of 5, do not recommend. All right, so that's gonna have about 1/8 of an inch of border. And really, I think balmy blue is the color that goes best with this pattern, but I love boho blue so much. And I don't know about you guys that have boho blue, but my boho blue cardstock is nice and heavy. I think it's just because of the ink. It gives the cardstock the feeling of it being a little bit sturdier. Some of our cardstock colors do that, and I'm sure it's something with the ink formula. Now, if you had a directional pattern of designer series paper, you'd want those pieces to be landscape. Again, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So landscape, you would want the 3 3/4 to be along the top. So there's that. And then I'm just gonna gently fold on these diagonal score lines. And I say gently, I don't really wanna add creases anywhere else. We will firm up those folds in just a little bit, but I'm just gonna start to get them going. You're turning them into mountain folds, the diagonal, okay? This bottom one's gonna end up being a valley fold, but we really can't do that till we start to close the box, okay? We're gonna have some fun adhering designer series paper because we wanna hide the magnets. I don't know if I showed you the detail there, but there are magnets hidden under this designer series paper, but I can't really get the magnets attached until we put the box together. So we'll have fun adhering designer series paper after the box is put together. All right, so what we're essentially gonna do now is connect our two pieces. So I'm gonna put liquid glue on this tab, and we're gonna basically line these up to make it one long piece here. What you want to do is pay attention to your score line, that bottom score line there, and make sure that that's all lined up and that you're focused on this vertical score line as well. Take your time lining those up correctly. If you need to use a flat edge to get those lined up, you can use your paper trimmer, you can use the Simply Scored, something that's got kind of a raised flat edge to help you line that up if you need it. So liquid glue, and I do recommend going all the way to the edge here, because we're gonna have a little bit of tension on the box. Okay, so liquid glue, and then again, I'm just gonna line up right along that score line, making sure this vertical score line is lined up. Get those adhered. All right, so then I'm gonna flip it over, just like this is a regular box. We've got that seam in the center. I'm gonna fold on the second score line from the left, liquid glue on this other tab, and again, go all the way to the edge. I'm being light with the glue so it won't ooze out, but I do want it to go all the way up to the edge there. And then I'm gonna fold on that first score line from the right, and those should line up. You may have to get it lined up just a little bit, but I'm pressing everything flat here. And I can kind of switch back and forth and just reinforce those tabs. Here we go. Okay, so now we've got the beginnings of our box here. Now we're gonna actually have two seams, one on this front corner and one on this back corner. And so you just have to pick one side to be the front. And you'll know the difference with the front when you go to decorate it. It's gonna be the flap that goes down last. Okay, so that's gonna end up being our front. And then I'm also paying attention, we're gonna adhere the flaps on the bottom. So there's my seam. So that's the back of the box, okay? So I'm gonna flip this over. For those of you that love to hide your tabs, this box is for you. I did make that decision to hide the tabs. So we're gonna go ahead and put the large flap in first. Then I'm gonna put the tabs down, and then I'm gonna put the back flap. And that's because this is a pretty big box and I wanted the inside to be really nice and neat. So the way I like to do this is fold that bottom tab, and I'm gonna put adhesive on the back side of the small tabs and on the back side of this large tab. Kind of hold the bottom tab in place, or I should say the first tab. There we go. Okay, so we got all that glue there, two tabs down, then that front tab. And then I like to just take my time and line up all of those edges on the bottom. And then I'm gonna flip it over, put the lid on my glue bottle, and I'm gonna use this flat part of my glue bottle to press that all on the inside. like so. Okay, you can put your hand in there too, but my hands are a little big for putting in there. I get a lot more leverage with that flat edge of the glue bottle, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna start to pinch on those diagonal pieces, okay? And I'm gonna start to fold that back first. So remember, we glued our bottom, our little seam is here. So this is the back of the box. Just starting to pinch and folding down the back and then the front. And you have to kind of like tuck that little score line in. I'm tucking it in with my fingernails here. But this is the part that I'm just gonna kind of pinch right along all the little diagonal pieces there. Just reinforcing it because there's no real easy way to burnish with a bone folder. And then those triangle pieces are just gonna fold down like so, okay? Now, because we didn't put score lines here, and I love how Indra did that with her design, you get this really cool sloping look that I just think really makes it look like a Dopp kit, okay? But you got that nice folded flap there. So you just wanna kind of tell the paper who's boss. Pinch on those triangles there to get everything sharp and looking nice. And then those are gonna ultimately fly down, fold down. They're like wings, like so, okay? Now, we're gonna have some fun with magnets here. So I do have a link in the description. I absolutely love the company Total Element. I'm a proud affiliate of theirs. And they've got a great price for, I think it's 200 magnets. I want to say it's $16.99, but my, well, you just set it on the table and I'll plug it in for you. My affiliate link will take you directly to the magnets that I recommend, the size and the ones that I order all the time. All right, so I've got 2 pairs of magnets here, okay? Kind of separating those so they don't smash together again. And I'm gonna take glue dots. Okay, so I'm gonna take the first pair of magnets and place it right there on glue dots. And the second pair. Now you could use Velcro for this as well if you prefer. I love switching it up for you guys. So magnets, okay? So again, I've got 2 pair, okay? That means that the positive and negative, the polar, what is, anyways, the positive and negative, the magnets are lined up properly. So let me grab my take your pick tool. And the first thing I'm gonna do is place magnets in the center of this triangle, okay? The center, because I wanna make sure that there's some space around the designer series paper that we can hide those magnets so that they stay put. All right, so I'm just picking that up. And again, I'm just gonna place pretty much in the center there. Like that, okay? I'm gonna repeat that with the other side. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna take 2 more glue dots. And this I like to use the take your pick tool because I'm just gently picking up a glue dot. I say gently and then it's stuck on me like that. And I'm gonna just lay that on the magnets here. Oh, please work for me. No, hold on, I'm gonna start over. Let's see. I know there's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way I've always done it. So sticking a glue dot right there on the magnet. I want to do both of them first because we're going to close the box and that's going to stick the opposite magnet to the opposite side of the box where we want it to go. There we go. Okay, so glue dot on the magnets. Focus, there we go. All right, so now I'm gonna close the box, press my sides down, and what should be left behind in the right spot are gonna be the opposite side of the magnets. Like so, okay? So we know that's where those magnets need to go. I'm just kind of reinforcing and pressing them here. Will you grab Nancy's question? It's a question without a Q. You might not see it yet. Okay. All right. So then I'm going to grab designer series paper. Okay. I've got 2 pieces that measure 1.5 by 2 1/4. If you've got a directional paper, you want those to be landscape. And then I have one that is 1.5 inches square. So this one we're going to do a little bit of surgery to. I'm going to cut it diagonally corner to corner. Just going to use my paper trimmer, but you could use your paper snips as well. So you've just then created those 2 triangle pieces. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and glue these down, and this is going to hide our magnets. So I'm going to place that one here and the other one on the other side. This is a really special box, and it's probably not one that you're going to make a whole bunch of, but you may love it so much you'll make a few. This would be a really beautiful way to give a gift card. Plenty of space for a gift card here. So I've got kind of a few of my fingers inside the box, just trying to press from the inside because I want to make sure that that paper hides that magnet and adheres all the way around it. Okay. So normally this is easier when you've got a flat surface to work with, but because of the design of this box, we've had to adhere the paper after the fact. So I've got it like that, and then I do like to use the surface of my desk and just press from the opposite side to make sure that that's good, good and adhered. Okay. All right, so there's that one. Let's do the other one, and then we'll do our triangle pieces. Some of you may be like, yeah, no, I'm going to use Velcro. I don't blame you, but boy, do I love the sound of magnets. Something so satisfying about closing a box with magnets. Whoops, that slid on me. So I'm paying close attention to this top part, the part right above the magnet. That has a tendency to want to pop up. And I got a little bit of adhesive. Just gonna use my adhesive remover. There we go. You really do want to use liquid glue here because you're going to get a really good adhesion with the cardstock fibers and the designer series paper. So those magnets are going to stay put. They've got both of Glue Dot and they've got liquid glue kind of holding them in place. All right, so now our triangle pieces, those are just going to go to cover up our other magnets. And again, this one, you want to try to get as close to the edge with adhesive as you can. There we go. And get those adhered. Oops. I'm just taking my time pressing that into place so that stays put. And then do the same thing. I think I forgot to do this with the rectangle piece. All right, and then our last triangle. To be patient, kind of hold it in place before I start to press it down. Patience is not my virtue. There we go. then press from the other side. All right, so now just double checking. There's the back because that's where our seam is. So we're gonna do the back goes down first, then the front, and then, oop, that one was like not sticking for me. Hold on. It was not as satisfying as it was before. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and decorate this. I'm gonna do a little bit of stamping, but you know me, I did the die cutting ahead of time already. So we're gonna stamp the thank you so much in Night of Navy. There we go. Gosh, I love the pairing of those fonts. And then I'll just show you how this rectangle die from Everyday Details works so nicely with thank you so much. Okay, so there's that. Run it through your die cutting machine. And I also die cut the circle. So the circle itself from Everyday Details is 1 3/8 in diameter. And this piece is, let's see, 2 5/16 by 7/8. Okay, and those layer really nicely together. Just makes that sentiment pop out even more. All right, so liquid glue. Thank you for reminding me, Deb, the Pixie Patron stream, which is normally the third Thursday of the month. We would have had it last week, but for COVID. So we are doing our members only stream tomorrow night, and we'd love to have more of you join us. You can join my channel there's a link in the description, the Pixie Patrons. It's $4.99 per month. And we do a monthly members only live stream where I give you card layout templates that you can use, and we have fun together. It's a little bit more laid back of a stream. So that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm just taking dimensionals, just a trio. And we'll pop that up on the front. Like so. And then I'm going to grab a trio of rhinestones. We'll do the medium-sized ones. Three is my favorite number. It's also a great number for embellishments. There we go, just kind of equidistant space them apart. There is our Dopp kit gift box. And I'm trying to see if I have a gift card handy to show you that that will fit in there. I do. That'll fit in there with plenty of space, and you can throw some treats or, I don't know, a cute silk scarf or something. There's an owl right outside the window, isn't there? Oh, I love this box so much. I mean, this curved edge. So Indra, thank you so much for the inspiration. I absolutely love it. Indra Beendel, German demonstrator. She's got a much larger version that I think actually uses 2 full sheets of A4 cardstock. So it's a really big box, but beautiful as well. I'll make sure to include that link in the description as well. I'll update that tomorrow too, okay? So this is the gift box. Here is the sample. Project sheet will be added to the description tomorrow, so give me tomorrow to do that. I just know that I won't have the energy to finish it tonight because COVID fatigue is real. Anyways, so that is the project for tonight. I love it. So, so cute. I can't wait to see what you guys make. As always, if you do make this project, I would love to see your take on it. So you can email me at any time at support support@thepaperpixie.com. Let's go ahead and tee up questions for tonight. If you do have a question, go ahead and put a Q in front of it if you haven't already. I'm about 20 to 30 seconds ahead of you, so I may miss some questions at the tail end. If I do miss your question, always feel free to email me at support@thepaperpixie.com. All right. Get those cues lined up. All right. We are up first with Janet K. How many staples like tear and tape, glue dots, etc. do you keep in your stash? It varies, but I usually have about 20 bottles of liquid glue. I've got a little container in one of my drawers that fits 20 really nicely. I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 boxes of glue dots, 6 to 8 rolls of tear and tape. I don't ever want to run out. So I don't order it often, but as I start to get low, I'll then replenish. So but again, I make lots and lots of projects, so that's why I have so much in my stash. Let's see. Okay, Outback Stamping, Leslie. I'm not sure what your question is here, but I know with A4, I know you guys only go up to 8 1/4. Feel free to email me and I can show you some alternative measurements. It won't be exactly the same size as last week's box or 2 weeks ago, the swivel box, but shoot me an email and I can help you out with that. Okay, so Kindercrafts. Technically, you would need something like Velcro dots to adhere the sides down. Hold on, let's see. I have a prototype here. This is one of the ones that I created just to show you that it doesn't really stay closed without some type of closure. So I would recommend Velcro dots if you're going to, for kids, okay, instead of magnets. The Velcro dots on my favorites page would be a great size. They're 5/8 of an inch in diameter. So I would do Velcro dots on the sides instead of magnets. You can probably get a little bit more creative too. You could technically like punch holes and do like ribbon underneath around the bottom. That would be an option, or you could even do ribbon kind of all the way around. That's another idea as well. Sue B, the glue dots on this type of a project will not hold the magnets without, like we did with this, putting paper over it. Because of the fact that there's quite a bit of tension here on the sides, those glue dots aren't that strong. So on a project where there's not a lot of tension, you can usually get away with glue dots. Another adhesive you could use that's going to be even stronger is E6000 glue. That does take time to adhere. So, but yeah, I use the mini glue dots sometimes with magnets, but I usually try to cover them with cardstock or paper to make sure they really stay in place. So Sharon, the Pixie Patron is going to be tomorrow night. So technically this month it's the 4th Thursday. Normally it's the 3rd Thursday, but just because I was out sick last week. So we'll do that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Let's see. You could put one of the magnets inside of the box. I tend to try to cover it with paper. The hold won't be as strong if you put the cardstock or if you put the magnets inside the box, but definitely worth trying. And if it doesn't work out, you can always put it back on the outside of the box. So final dimensions are 4 inches. I need to double check this. It's 4 inches wide, 1 3/4 tall, and 2.5 inches deep. So 4, 1 3/4, 2.5. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Robin. Let's see. I made 3 before I came up with my template. So this was the first one, kind of big. I was learning, kind of how the box went together. This was the second one. I was kind of playing around with where I put the tabs. And then the third one. So I made 3, but I also cut other pieces that ended up in the trash because I goofed. So they didn't even get to a box form before they made it into the trash. So I make quite a few, and then usually I'm such a procrastinator. I do it like right up to the live stream, so I usually have the measurements in my head from memory usually, but when I'm live, I get nervous and have to check my measurements. Will socks fit? I think so, Linda, if they're thin. This is like the new, I think this will socks fit is the new will a gift card fit question, because I've been getting the socks question a lot. Let's see. Good question. So because Brian and I are relatively young and healthy, we did not take an antiviral. I don't think it's recommended for our age group and health-wise. We actually just let it run its course. What did we do? We did antihistamine, like Allegra or Claritin, nasal spray to keep our airways open. I was doing some not antibiotics. I was doing some decongestant, but that wasn't really helping, so I stopped taking that. And then just drinking lots of water and sleep. So we just let it run its course. It felt like the flu. But it wasn't for me anyways, it wasn't as bad as it was the first time around. The first time around, I was in bed for 4 or 5 days. This time I didn't have to stay in bed. But anyways, we're just happy that I'm hoping we have immune systems of steel for this fall and winter. We shall see. Let's see. Will it fit a travel size toothpaste? Yes, it will. It will. And a bunch of other stuff. We don't really know, to be honest. I think is this Nancy? I think it's Nancy. Anyways, they both had colds the first week of school, and for all we know, they might have had COVID, but there was no they didn't have fevers, so we didn't test them. From what I understand, like what's going around is more like a cold for many people, so it's possible they had it and we didn't know it. But Brian and I both work from home, so we don't know where else we would have gotten it from, but the kids were back to health really quickly, so we didn't think it was COVID. Let's see. I'm interested in the different size for the same box as Leslie. Joy, shoot me a message, okay? And let me know, tell me more. Let's see. You could do this. So Jen, if you remember the Perfect Parcel dies, those actually had a slit to tuck in the corner. So absolutely, you could try that. I think because of the thickness of the cardstock being folded into this triangle, you'd probably need to do more than just like a slit. I think you'd need to put like a wider slit, if that makes sense. So this would fit in there. Those Perfect Parcel dies did all that work for you. But yeah, that's definitely worth a try as well. Let's see. Yeah, you could try that as well, Lori. If anybody gives that a try, let me know. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Do I have a template for a 4 1/4 inch box? Brenda, send me an email, because that's a very open-ended question. I'm not sure what style box you're referring to. If it's this one is 4 inches. So I do have boxes for A2 cards, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But shoot me an email, tell me a little bit more about what you're asking about. All right, I have reached the end of the questions that have come through. If you've got a question for me that I didn't address tonight, feel free to shoot me an email at support@thepaperpixie.com. If you enjoyed tonight's project or learned a fun tip or trick or two, make sure you hit the thumbs up button here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. You'll get notified when we're live next, which will be next Wednesday for episode 343 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you are a channel member, we've got our Pixie Patron members only live stream tomorrow night. That is exclusively for channel members. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That will be episode 11 of our monthly Pixie Patron members only stream. So again, just a reminder, my retired items shop has been loaded up with a bunch of retired products. That link is in the description. Also, my product shares are open for sign up. That link is also in the description. Check out the Designer Series paper sale before it ends. That will end on August 31st. And if you earned coupon codes during the month of July, those bonus days coupon codes, and you haven't redeemed them yet, you've got to redeem them by August 31st. Otherwise, they'll go away. I don't want you to miss out on that. So shopping the Designer Series paper sale is a great way to use up those coupon codes. As always, email me if you've got questions with that. Some of you haven't been receiving your coupon code emails, so let me know and I can give you some direction there. We will see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, episode 343 on August 28th. I'll see many of you tomorrow night for episode 11. That's tomorrow, August 22nd, 2024. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget, all you need are stamps, ink, and a little paper pixie. And here's a shout out to my Pixie patrons. We're so grateful for your support. Take good care. See you next time. Bye.